We're ready. Okay, good morning. Welcome to Natural Resources Preservation Advisory Board meeting on Thursday, May 4th at 11 a.m. Can we all kindly silence our cell phones? And Ms. Gaskins, can you please call the roll?
Member Nessel?
Yeah.
Member Davidson?
Here.
Member Matherman, President, Chairperson Stanfield? Here. And Planner, Ingrid Allen is present. Town Attorney Rubin? Thank you.
Okay, then can we all rise, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So before we move to approve the agenda, Ms. Gaskins, I'm wondering if there could be one item added upon review, upon it being sent out. I would like to put forth the idea that we spend a little bit of time to reflect or debrief our March 1st meeting that we had for the community on dune restoration and maintenance. Just a quick check-in, even just next steps, components, where we'd go from there. Would that be under old business or?
That would be under unfinished business. You're adding it as a new item.
Okay,
And what are you calling it again?
just a quick check-in debrief of our March 1st dune restoration and maintenance public outreach event that we held right here in the library.
Okay.
Again, we were all present for that, but we do have an opportunity to just share check-ins or
Okay, so
possible next steps.
that's added to the agenda as item 8B.
Thank you.
So we need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. I'll make a motion.
Okay, so motion to approve the agenda, all in favor, say yes. Any opposed, say no.
Just
Uh-huh.
one thing, when you all are speaking, when you all are speaking, make sure you speak into the mic so the public can hear you, especially if we have someone watching by television or Zoom. Thank you.
Okay. And then we'll move on to item number 5, public comments. Public comments are now open. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Are there any public comments?
Good morning. Is this on? Okay. Hi, I think most of you know me. I am the sea turtle permit holder for the town of Highland Beach. My name is Joanne Ryan. And I was invited here today by Barbara Nestle, who has suggested that I maybe just talk a few minutes about what's happening at Gumbo Limbo. I think you all know that the rehab facility has been shut down there. They're kind of trying to work on getting it reopened again, but no one knows what's going to happen there. I know for a fact that 2 of my friends that ran the hospital have been fired by the city of Boca, and they have turned it over to the nonprofit that's under the name of Gumbo Limbo Coastal Stewards. I don't want to take too much time, but I know there is a petition out there. If anyone is interested in signing the petition, it's a petition that has reached about 5,000 people now. We'd love to get it to 10,000. And it's just a plea to investigate the Coastal Stewards nonprofit because there's been some unsavory things going on there. I really can't speak on behalf of Gumbo Limbo, although we work closely with them. I do not work for the city. I don't work for Gumbo Limbo. So I'm not going to go into too much detail there, but if anyone wants the petition, I'll be glad to email it to you. And I also wanted to add, I was invited back to the city commissioners meeting or the town commissioners meeting on May 23rd to do my presentation on our sea turtle program again. So if anyone is interested in attending that, I'll be there on the 23rd. I think it's at 1:30. And I also wanted to say, we finally have completed our nonprofit. We have a 501c3, thanks to Barbara Nestle, who helped me put that together, doing the legal work for me, and it's called Highland Beach Sea Turtle Team, Inc. Is that 5 minutes?
I would definitely like to get that petition. Is it only a paper petition, not online?
It is online. It's change.org.
Change?
Change.org. You can find it there. I guess you could Google the Sea Turtle petition. I'll be glad to send it to you. And you do not have to donate. Change.org, they do ask for a donation, or you share it on Facebook or any social media, but my husband donated. I did not donate, but you know, a lot of my friends have donated in the Sea Turtle team, but honestly, I don't know what change.org does with that money. So, you know,
If I can make a suggestion, could we publish it maybe in the notes, the link to the petition? So once we have the notes, is that something?
Yes,
that-
let's put
sure,
that link on
I'll
our
look it up on
website.
my phone right now and I'll give it to you.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you
you.
so much.
We might need town's approval to put the link
Yeah.
on the approval on the website.
The petition is a city of Boca petition. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just trying to figure out what it is.
Okay, the petition was started by a concerned citizen and it goes into detail about what had happened at Gumbo Limbo with the losing of the permit for the rehab side of it. And let me just add that the sea turtle hatchlings is still going to be a drop off there. They still conduct their nesting surveys. It's only the rehab side. So if we get a sick or injured turtle that wash up on our shores here, we don't have any place locally to take it at the present time. We have to go up to Juno Beach or down to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, my only concern is because then it looks like the town is endorsing that. And I don't know. And I don't know what it says. and
I
we'll go through
understand.
I-
that
and
could
then,
be a little
as
bit of
Ingrid said,
controversy.
maybe
I
just
can
check
give
with
it
the
give it to you
manager
personally.
and see whether the town would be okay with it.
Yeah, I could check with the town manager to see if that would be something he'd want on the website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
If you could send me a link to it.
Sure.
that'd be good.
Absolutely.
I mean, from my standpoint, it's not an endorsement by the town. It's just literally democracy
No.
at play, and it's just publishing the link. It doesn't mean what Highland Beach thinks or doesn't think.
Understood, but anything that's on our website, then it could be perceived that way. I understand it's not intended that way.
I mean, maybe there was a misunderstanding. I don't think we discussed it having being it on the website. It would just be on the minutes, on the
Oh.
write-up, a link on the minutes, not on the website.
Minutes are permanent record. We don't put link.
Okay. So it would have to be on the website then, okay.
Okay, so that'll take us over to item number 6, presentations, government and the sunshine law orientation, and I'm going to refer this item over to town attorney Leonard Rubin.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Len Rubin. I'm one of the town attorneys in case I haven't met you all before. And I apologize if you were here the last time I did this. It'll be a little repetitive in nature, but never hurts, right? So the government sunshine law, essentially, it's something that's somewhat unique to Florida. It's actually a statute that ensures the right of public access to governmental proceedings at state and local level. And it applies to any gathering of 2 or more members of the same board to discuss any matter that may foreseeably come before the board for official action. And I'll get more into that later. But it does apply to advisory boards, even though you're an advisory board and your recommendations are not binding on the town commission. Because you do provide recommendations to the town commission, you are subject to the government sunshine law. There's actually 3 requirements that really aren't. Most of these functions are taken care of by the town. The meetings must be open to the public, obviously. There must be notice given to the meetings, and there must be minutes taken, and those functions are assumed by the town clerk's office. But The practical application of it is that two or more members of the same board cannot have any private discussions on any matter that may foreseeably come before the board. So all conversations between you all as members of the board must occur at the public meeting. And this includes any type of communication through any means, text, phone, email, whatever it may be. If you're discussing board business, it needs to be here and on mic so the public can hear it. That's the whole theory behind the public access. You can talk to members of staff, that's fine. You can talk to members of other boards, that's fine. You can talk to residents, that's fine. It's just two members of the same board. Doesn't mean you can't talk to each other outside of these meetings. If you happen to be friends, go to, social gatherings, that's fine. Just be sure when you're with another board member that you refrain from talking about topics that may come before the board for official business. Let me see if there's anything else. If you're gonna inspect, if you're going to take trips together, like if you're talking about a specific area within the town, I would go individually. I would not go together. Again, that sort of lends itself to a sunshine law issue. The other thing that sometimes comes up, I don't know if it's come up here about abstentions. It's sort of a corollary to the sunshine law. If you're here and there's a vote, you have to vote unless you have a voting conflict. If you ever have a question about whether you have a voting conflict, you could always discuss it with me before the meeting or a call or whatever the case may be. I'd be happy to discuss that with you. The sunshine law is a pretty serious thing. There are all sorts of penalties for violating it. A knowing violation could be criminal. There's civil penalties. And we could get sued, and any action that's taken in violation of the sunshine law is void. So just the takeaway from that is anytime you're talking to another board member about board business, it has to take place at the board meeting. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay, great. A corollary to public records law that people sometimes lump together is, corollary to sunshine law that people sometimes lump together is the public records law. So public records law covers obviously records in any form that are related to official business. How it applies to you is if you receive emails, texts, whatever the case may be that relates to official business before the board, those are public records and they need to be retained. The easiest way to probably deal with that so you don't have to worry about retaining it is to make sure you forward it to the clerk's office, and then Linelda and her team will make sure that the records are maintained for the proper amount of time. There's just some little corollaries to this. If you get mail, I don't really see why, but any mail that comes to the town, we would have to open to see if it was public records. It probably doesn't apply to most of the board members. So I already covered emails and text messages. If you get those, forward them to the clerk's office so you don't have to worry about the retention or violating public records. And we really don't need to get into the attorney-client stuff. And your contact information, if the town has it, just so you know, this is just a heads up, is a public record, unless it's exempt for some other reason. There are statutory exemptions that apply to law enforcement officers, firefighters. So if you have a separate exemption that applies to you, it would not be released, but otherwise it will be released. So the role of the board, I was just going to go over real quick. Essentially, the board was created by the commission, and you only have the power and authority that's delegated by the town commission. And those, it's in your packet, but those powers and duties are delineated. It's regular beach cleanup events, assist with the sea turtle program, which we just heard about, review existing town ordinances which affect the environment and advise the commission about modifications, assist homeowners and associations to keep adequate levels of vegetation, promote green landscaping, make recommendations about beach cleaning, and then really assist the town commission in any manner the town commission wishes for the board to assist them. And again, it's an advisory capacity. Parliamentary procedure, we operate under the basic rules of parliamentary procedure, and I'm sure you're all familiar with this. Any formal recommendation or formal board action is by motion. There's a maker, there's a seconder. So essentially, a member must make the motion, the chair will ask for a second, just like you did with the minutes. And then there's discussion, and then there's actually a formal vote. If there's an amendment to the motion, it should be a motion to amend, but that's probably getting a little more formal than you all need to get into. And then when everyone's had a chance to speak on the motion, then the chair calls for a vote. And that's your essential parliamentary procedure. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them about anything. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. So
I love a question.
it's actually great to have you here because I was always thinking about the regular beach cleanup. So that's point number A. Because basically, in the past couple of meetings, and forgive me, because I'm pretty new to this commission as well, just for 1 year. I find it personally as a resident frustrating that we cannot organize beach cleanups with the Turtle Team or through other charity organizations because it's a private beach. We obviously cannot trespass, but what is your legal opinion on residents officially gathering? So not just me with my family and a bunch of kids
Well,
cleaning up the
officially, it
beach.
should be through the town. If there's going to be a town-sponsored beach cleanup, that should be approved at least by town administration, because yes, we do. Highland Beach is somewhat unique that way. Well, all the municipalities are different, but there is not that much public beach here. It's mostly privately owned, as you said. So there are issues that we have to be cautious about. That's why if it's a town beach cleanup, it needs to really be coordinated by the town. Of course, you can make recommendations as to how that should be done or recommend that the town take certain actions. That's great. But it would be coordinated through the town.
So how about, say, if the Sea Turtle Team, the new charity that was just formed, was, say, doing monthly Saturday morning or whatever it will be, beach cleanup events where maybe 10, 15 people are gathering and they're cleaning up the beach. Do you have any legal concerns with that?
That, if they're through you start a 501c3. So if that organization, well, then it's up to that organization. Any town beach cleanup, we should be clear through the town administration at the very least.
Does the 501c3 have to get approval from the town to do a beach?
No,
cleanup?
it's a 501c3. It's an independent organization. It's not. So that would be the organizations of that, not the towns.
And if we, as a board, all participated at the same time during their beach cleanup? is there-
That's fine, but just don't talk about board business while you're doing it.
So I think maybe. Do we want to, is your question, or are you getting to the point where as a board, should we
I'm
Talk
a little
about
frustrated
discussing
Yeah.
regular?
because
cleanup?
we have been wanting to do organized beach cleanups and we have
I've
been
been told
told
no.
that we
No.
cannot do it. It's a liability and we can't do it.
So that was very interesting to see that as
Yeah.
our role. We all.
Yeah.
flagged up
It is part
because
of your role,
it is-
but
Even
I
when
wrote
I,
it down and she wrote it down. I mean, we are all like, that is
Mhm.
our role, but that's what we want to do.
and
But
we've been
again-
told continuously, no, even there was a time point where I asked, because I lead one at my Highland Beach Club next door monthly, and I asked, can I get the buckets? Regardless of a bucket tree, can I purchase buckets for our large group, again, so we can be representing the town? And I was told, no, the town cannot in any way, shape or form be associated with anything. So it's shocking to me because I feel like we're getting conflicting
well,
information.
I mean, that's
Here's our
like
role,
code
but what
and-
we're told we can do, so.
well, right. But
We did, then our silver lining though is what we are pulling from this in a positive way is now that we have this 501(c)(3) group that Barbara helped organize, we can in some fashion, but again, we can coordinate with them. Do we need to do that through Ingrid in order to coordinate them, or can we talk with them directly if we wanted to, one of us be assigned to directly coordinate beach cleanups through this, since it's not involving, like having a
Well,
point person,
it
so that
would
we're
be-
not all
it
involved
wouldn't be the-
outside this room.
if you're going to, if the 501c3 is organizing beach cleanup, it's their event, not a town event. So that would be different than your role as a board member. It would not be.
Does that include the nonprofit, or is that a separate program that we're talking about?
That is just like a general statement that things that are involved with protection of sea turtles generally come before this board. But again, you're an advisory board only, so anything that you do really has to be blessed by either commission or at very least the administration.
If I could just add to that, yes, we've had this conversation for several years about beach cleaning. And I've discussed it with the town manager, and given that the beaches are private, an official sponsored town event was not accepted, I guess is lack of a better word. Just wanted to put that out there.
No, but I think that's
Do-
great. So we got legal clarification that as a charity can organize it, and obviously we cannot trespass. So we have to keep in what we call the wet sand. Obviously, we cannot walk up to very close to their residences. We can only do the public part of the beach, which is the wet sand.
Essentially, right?
No, that's very helpful. Thank you so much. I actually have another question regarding letter D, encourage homeowners and associations to keep adequate levels of vegetation on the beach in order to avoid erosion. Since I moved here 2 years ago, this was personally, as a resident, my biggest concern, but there's a lot of homeowners out there that are not doing anything to prevent erosion. Of course, it's their private land, and I understand the city of Highland Beach is all private land. But what can we, as a board, do? What is legally allowed? And what would you recommend to approach those homeowners that are not undertaking anything?
I don't think the board should be approaching the homeowners, but if it's something that you believe should be, do we have anything in the code that addresses the erosion or the required vegetation?
Yeah, the board had asked about that. Yeah, there's nothing in the code that talks about dealing with any dune erosion that may be on a property. But again, you all are doing a lot of dune outreach, right? That was a direction you got from the commission to do educational outreach. As you all know, you have your dune webpage. So you could continue on that if you want to discuss it further.
And I think that is something we can talk about in that item that I added to the agenda on the debrief of what took place and what was next. Because again, we had permission to do that outreach from the town, and that was in conjunction with their request that we do this so that they can then move forward with the evaluation from was it a 10-year, 20-year? What was the evaluation
You mean
timeframe?
the
Ingrid?
beach feasibility? Yeah,
Yes.
it was done in 2013.
So 10 year.
So we have a
Mhm.
proposal. It should be coming to the commission in the next few meetings. I was told because we have a lot of new commissioners, they're being exposed to a lot of information.
Mhm.
So the town manager is, coordinating those
Yeah.
agendas accordingly. So there's not too much bombardment of new information. So it should be coming before them shortly.
So I think to stay streamlined, because we are just going to remind the board, I don't know if everybody heard when we got here, because we're in this space and it is being utilized by multiple groups at this time because of lack of access to the town hall. We are on a time limit till 1 or 12:30. Is that correct, Ms. Gaskins? Okay. So to keep us streamlined and on point, I would ask that we take that conversation up when we get to the item that I added to the agenda. Yep. Okay. I noted that there was a question from the audience as it pertained to that sharing of sunshine laws. Are we taking questions with that, or is that not a place to do at this point in time?
I'm happy to answer any questions. If there's questions, if you want to come up, that's fine. If that's okay with the board and the chair.
When you introduce yourself, could you also share
Yes.
possibilities of what's going on and how you and I have spoken in the past and why
Yeah,
I think
Nicole and I did chat. I'm Chris Villegas. I live at 3407 South Ocean Boulevard. I've been a winter person for 15 years and my husband and I have just moved here, and it submitted my name to the commission to actually join you. So I had some interest in your sunshine law. And then I have one other question. The sunshine law, can the board, if there is no matter in front of the board, but the members want to brainstorm, do you have an issue with that?
Now, any meeting with the board, if they're doing brainstorming, that would be covered by the sunshine law, would have to be. I mean, the board could have a workshop meeting where it's just sort of a brainstorm, more informal, but again, it
Ah.
would still have to be noticed and it would still have to be open to the
And it would
public.
be open in
Yes, ma'am.
minutes.
And
okay,
minutes would have to be
great,
taken.
thank
And minutes can
thank
be very brief, but there would have to be minutes. Yeah.
Okay. And then in terms of the beach cleanup, if the town, it seems to me as a resident and not a member of the board, that the town has an opportunity to communicate with the owners and ask permission if people would allow people on a cleanup day, designated cleanup day with volunteers to go and pick up trash. And the addresses would be known to the people who participated, or a representative of the building could be out front for the time slot allocated. Do you see any issues with that, or with with the town approaching that or thinking
Well,
about?
that, and again, that would be a town decision. If, you know, that could be a recommendation of the board to the town commission or to the town manager, and then it could be taken up by the town if that's a recommendation or.
I think
Yes.
along that line is the liability issue. A homeowner could say, yes, you could come on my property, but then if somebody gets hurt,
Well, that's true too.
then it's a whole different ballgame. So there would have to be,
Right.
paperwork, signs.
Well, so yes, you could sign a waiver there. I mean, there are ways to approach it again, but that's sort of a policy decision of the town, whether they want to go down that path or not. And I guess they've been reluctant to do so thus far, but again, if the board wants to recommend it, then it can go up the chain again.
Yeah, because I mean, I have volunteered for many different events and that is very common.
Yeah, no, and beach cleanups are very common. So I also represent the town of Juno Beach, when we were talking about turtles. But the beach in Juno Beach is almost all public. So it's a completely different, and that's why I was saying each municipality is different. When Juno Beach was platted way back when the beach was still public, there's very little sand that's owned by private people in Juno Beach. So, and I don't know, maybe, so that's the difference. But whenever you're dealing with private property owners, there's liability issues, there's all sorts of other issues.
And it's the high water mark, right?
So the part that's public is between the low and high. So the
The
wet
mean high
sand,
tide.
that's the mean, yeah. So it's the wet sand essentially.
Yeah, so if you look at where the.
It's
say
between the
front
mean
beach,
high
you
water
get
and the mean low water.
The seagrass goes up almost up to most of the properties, seagrass. And so there's a lot of land available for people to walk. And it would seem this, just in listening to the board, they're very interested in trying to figure out how to facilitate it. So maybe we can come up with a creative solution that would include a nonprofit and volunteers and waivers and perhaps going to where the seagrass is.
Yeah, thank you for your contribution. And can you remind or tell the rest of the board when you do stand before the commission for, just and then we'll close up that piece, but
We don't have a date yet. We have to-
oh, I believe that she was, it was
Yeah.
my understanding that you were given a date.
We're clearing May 16th, I think, to see because of the activity.
Because I thought it'd be good for the whole board to know when that might be possible. Okay. No, that was apologies. You
Okay.
shared that May 16th
you.
date. And again, just wanted it noted here while I'm sitting here instead of again side conversations. But thank you again for being present even on this meeting and showing your interest in the work that we do. Okay, so that will move us on to item number 7, approval of minutes from our February 2nd, 2023 meeting. Are there any corrections to the minutes of the February 2nd, 2023 meeting upon your review? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Motion to approve minutes.
Is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor, say yes. Yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. Okay, then moving on to number 8, unfinished business, an update from Chairperson Stansfield on Bucket Tree outreach. So I took it upon myself to reach out to the communities in the town of Highland Beach that did not presently have a bucket tree on their entryway to the beach. And I'll just remind everybody, the communities that presently do have them are Highland Beach Club, Penthouse Towers, Regency Highlands, Bell Lido, HOA, Coronado, Highlands Place. Toscana had one. I still have yet to see it since the replacement, since the Nicole came through in November. But I know they did have one at one time. Trafalgar, Bel Air Drive, Beach Access north of 45 Ocean Condo. They all presently went through the process and had one installed. So Ms. Allen provided me with the list of the 53 communities that are here, minus the ones that already had, and I crafted an email that's sent out to every single individual that was listed on there from the property manager. And I had 10 of them that I'll have to share with Ms. Allen that are defunct, dead, but it wasn't too bad, after all that time, 10 defunct emails. And we so far have had one individual It was a Boca Highland Beach Club. That last go around said, no, we don't need one. And they ponied up and said, yes, we would love to have one. And they just sent in their, whatever they needed to do.
Authorization form, yes.
Okay. So I'm sure that continuous follow-up would be necessary, rechecking in, if anybody else wanted to assist with that. I'm gonna just put it out there. I'd love assistance. I was happy to put forth the first email. I can send it and communicate it through Ms. Allen with others of what I had sent out, to even share some of my personal experience with Highland Beach Club and the trash we collected doing our community organized beach cleanups and how useful the bucket trees are. But I will be out of the country for 2 months, starting Saturday. So would love assistance from anybody else on the board who would
I
like to.
am very
just
happy
follow
to
up.
assist.
Okay.
I'm very happy to assist with
How
that.
many possible trees could we put? Like, how many accesses are there?
There are 53 communities. What did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 have them presently. 1 just got on
Okay.
board, so we're down to about. We have 43 more we can target.
Yeah, but
Around
Does 43 include like single family?
yeah, that's what I was gonna
access?
ask.
Unless they are like Bell Lido HOA, I might turn this over.
That's
to
just,
the-
that's like
like that-
one access.
That's one, but they were not each individual homeowner. They were the larger communities of multiple. Like that are formally have a property manager assigned to them. Am I speaking correctly, Ms. Allen?
The Bolito one, it was authorized by the town manager because they couldn't find, I guess it's a voluntary type HOA.
Yes, it
They
is.
couldn't find anyone that had the authority to sign the authorization form. But as I said, the town manager went ahead and authorized the installation of that bucket tree.
So my question is, and maybe I just don't realize it because I'm never counting, but is there really 53 access points in Highland
I
Beach?
personally have not counted either.
It seems like a lot.
I'm gonna say that no, even from my experience in watching people, because I'm somebody who lives on the intracoastal side and we have our deeded easement through 2 homes. But looking at other communities, they're sharing a common access point from the intercoastal side. There's somebody on the beach side, so no, but it's hard when you say 53. From my understanding, and Ms. Allen, you can correct or support me in this, it's 53 identified homeowners associations with property managers. So that could come into conflict if maybe somebody on the intercoastal side is sharing an access point with somebody on the ocean side, and we're contacting both of them, and one saying yes, one saying no. But I haven't gotten that large of a response back yet to see if we would need to get into collaborating and communicating and facilitating communication amongst different groups.
Yeah, I don't know that you're gonna get much response from the single family homes, right? And also keep in mind, we want to have anyone that participates in having a bucket tree, they need to have a
Identity.
trash receptacle, right? Because there's no point of having the
Mhm.
bucket tree if there's not an accompanying trash receptacle, which is why we initially reached out to those condos that had a town of Highland Beach receptacle. And then we had through word of mouth, some other condos that had their own trash receptacle that now have it. So obviously a lot of single family homes may not have a receptacle. Maybe they don't need it because just go in their home, but yeah, I don't know that you'll get too much response. from
No,
the
and I see
single
the
family
benefit in
homes.
having them in high density areas where people are coming and going.
Makes sense.
And just for the record, I am a member of the Bellito Homeowners Association, and I can give you a contact name in case you need it in the future. The
Okay.
president of our unofficial homeowners association.
I think I may have his name and reached out to him, but he wasn't,
sign?
he wouldn't sign.
Okay.
Well, let's make sure it's the same name. We can
Okay.
talk about.
Okay,
after the
we'll talk
meeting, but
later.
yeah,
Okay.
It was quite a,
Okay.
quite a. Yeah.
Why don't you answer?
My,
the
my question
publicly?
is, does the Sands Resort, is that an opportunity to put a tree there and have guests help with beach cleanup?
I don't know if that, I'm assuming they would have a trash receptacle out there.
They do, because I've utilized it
okay.
when I do my own beach walk.
Have we asked them if they want a beach tree?
No,
bucket tree?
again, when I initially reached out, it was for those that had the town receptacle. If the board wishes to reach out.
I think we
to see
should.
what their thoughts are on it. If you get a a positive response from them, then I could, discuss it with the town manager just to make sure that that would be, I think the intent was really for residential, but, let's see if he's open to putting it at Delray.
I mean, I would go as further and say, putting up a town sign like on the boardwalk out to the beach saying, help help keep our community clean, with this tree or something along those lines. I would say that would need to get approved by the town, but
I think, well, the buckets themselves have the sticker that explains, and that went through the commission as to, it was a really, I don't want to say strict, but a thorough review of what they wanted to publicize, what they wanted it to look like. The bucket, it's on our website. The bucket is pretty self-explanatory and it's, does a good job of why this is important, but I think it's a good idea. Even when I walk by Delray Sands, because that's not too far from where I reside, and when I do my own beach walk, people are interested, they want to know, and I even encourage, like, are you really, I don't think Trafalgar would mind if you grabbed a beach bucket and utilized it while you're out here and put it back. So I encourage. Put it out there, ask forgiveness later.
do we need,
But I do encourage, and just walking and us doing our job when we're out there and doing that and educating, I see as something we can do informally all the time. And I continuously have people come up to me and say, thank you.
Yeah.
Where can we, how can we?
And I
participate.
personally, I think I have to really praise the town of Highland Beach and all the staff that we in Highland Beach have this amazing bucketry and also trash can program. Because say if I walk in Gulfstream, I don't know where to put my trash. I have to walk for 2 miles in a big bag and it gets so heavy I can barely schlep it. So I think first of all, that we as residents have to thank the town of Highland Beach to give us this opportunity and to clean those trash cans. And we and Parker Highland, I'm a resident of Parker Highland, we are so grateful for the trash can that we have. Because it really helps with the cleanups.
It does.
And we also are grateful for the town to be flexible with, because our residents in one of the board meetings voted against the bucketry, even though we had one, and the town was very flexible because the people thought like, this is too much, this is ugly, and then kids are playing with the buckets and they're all over the place. And so the residents really voted against the bucketry, but very much pro the trash can. So I think there's multiple options there. It's a great program. Thank you so much to all the town staff to give us this opportunity here in Highland Beach.
And thank you, Diane, for, it was your baby that got this started. So then
I'm happy to see it come through and be successful.
So moving forward with them with continual communication, do we see a need to do a second round or reach out to once I give, provide Ms. Allen with the list of, these are the ones that were defunct emails, or what do we see as next steps in reaching out?
I'm happy
follow
to
up?
go to Delray Sands and ask them if they want one. I'll do that.
Do we need any approval from the commission prior to that reaching out?
No, again, if you get a positive feedback,
I'll let
from
you know.
Delray, let me just send me an email and then I'll run it by the town manager, see what his thoughts are. Again, I think the intent was more the condos, but that's not to say we can put one there. I just want to run it by him.
Okay.
It's, again, a town bucketry, so we want to make sure the town manager approves of that installation.
Okay. And as for it pertains to revisiting the other 42 communities, do we see a need? Would there be somebody who wants to step in and assist, or do we see, we'll start with, do we see a need before I ask for volunteers?
I mean, the discussion of the need is, I have noticed that they were disappearing. So there were more bucket trees 3 months ago than there are now. Was this hurricane related, or have the people removed them, asked to remove them?
Where do you see them? Where were they where you no longer see them? Do you know the name of the
In the
communities?
southern part of Highland Beach, so the very south part, there were some that they had bucket trees there and they've been removed.
I haven't been advised, I work with the Public Works Department. They're the ones
Yeah.
that go and install it. I've not heard from the Public Works Director that any of them are missing per se.
I
That's
think they're
interesting.
all back now.
Okay,
They were taken down for, was it a hurricane?
It was a hurricane in
And some
November.
of them got replaced slowly, but they should be back now.
right, on the authorization form. If I could just add, on the authorization form, it says that there's a hurricane, you have to remove it. And then, the Public Works Department is happy to assist, but we do ask on the form to remove them just for.
Yeah.
safety.
So, but I know I'll speak from my own experience. Ours did not get replaced after the hurricane and I needed to take steps to work with Public Works because even Public Works was like, you never had one. Like, yes, we did. So I had to go back and as I noted, I had not seen the one in Toscana when I was out the last go round. It's not present, so might need to do some follow-up with Public Works and we have the list of where they were as you provided that I just read through. Is there some way to check and ensure that they're all there? And again,
Yes.
sometimes the integrity of the buckets and other things do need.
Yeah, and we've
replacement and what our
replaced-
responsibility
Yeah,
is with that.
the Public Works Director has advised me they've had to replace a few buckets, but
Mhm.
feel free, if you ever see a bucketry gone or buckets missing, just send me an email. I'll advise Public
Okay.
Works. We have extra buckets, we have extra labels, decals to put on, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Can you then, Ms. Allen, send out the email that you sent to me that listed all the associations that should had them approved and had them installed? So that, because we all live at different parts of the beach.
So you want
So
to
if you
email.
can send
with
it out to everybody, so I'm kind of in the middle, you're at the south end, but everybody can keep an eye out
So you want a
and-
list of those that do have the
that
bucket?
do have them and
Okay.
we can all confirm that, yes, they are still present, because I am out there and try to confirm as well. But since we are spread out from one end of the 3 mile stretch to the other, we can all have our
That's
eyes
no
on that. That
problem.
would be appreciated. Okay, so I'm not hearing any need then to follow up with additional communication at this time that follows my email that I sent out since the last meeting.
I would maybe in 6 months resend an email asking if they've changed their mind.
Yes, because in those homeowner associations, the board members do change regularly, and I think it's good to maybe every 6 months to a year, send out emails to all the associations.
And you may also want to consider during the season, right? Now, a lot of people have gone back up north, so maybe when the season starts again, may be a good time to reach out again.
Okay. And then again, Ms. Allen, as I said, I'll send you my list. Apologies. Did not have it on my person today, but I will scan it and send it to you of the defunct email.
That would
address
be
that is
great,
no
'cause,
longer there, so we can update that information for next correspondence.
I did receive the list from the town manager's office. So I'll let them know that these are defunct and then they'll reach out accordingly.
Okay. All right.
Can we take a public comment from somebody who walks the beach every morning? Is that possible?
You can, it's up to
Yeah.
the chair.
Yeah.
if you
No,
wish.
I'm watching our time and we're good.
I just wanted to say that those bucket trees were awesome, and I was gonna email you and let you know how popular they are. You know, you talk about the sands, they have trash cans all along their beachfront, and my entire team picks up trash every morning that they're out there, and we do dump wherever we can. However, at the very north end, I know there's a lot of private residents up in that area, but there's very little, there's zip trash cans. And if we could get one up there, the townhouses of Highland Beach, they have one there and that's the only one. And then we walk up to the Delray border. So I was just wondering if another trash can could be placed up there. And then as far as the buckets go, I've seen people, guests at the sands, grab a bucket, walk with it, and then maybe hang it on another one, you know, so they do get moved around a little bit. And then one other thing, I noticed the trash cans were moved on one section of the beach. We're broken down into zones, but there was a trash can that was behind the Innskeep's house, and it's been moved a little further south. And then they took one away in that area, because that was one zone. We had like three trash cans. So that's just, you know, if we could get more trash cans out there, that'd be awesome.
Joanne, if you wouldn't mind just emailing me that, and that way I could forward it to the Public Works. Maybe there was an issue with the can, maybe you got damaged or something. So if you could just email me like the approximate locations, and then I could forward it to the. Public
Yeah,
Works.
okay,
That would be
perfect.
helpful.
I'll do
Thank you.
that.
You know, I would like to can I make a motion that we ask the commission to put more trash cans on the beach?
Well, again, it's on private property, so we'd
Well-
have to get an authorization from.
Okay,
the
so
property
in
owner.
some places where I have visited, where there's a really wide beach, you'll see a trash can at the high tide mark, you know, not so close to the homeowners, like more in the middle of the beach. Would we be opposed to that?
Again, I'd run it through the town
Okay.
manager and see what his thoughts are. Yeah.
I've seen, I'm frequently in South Beach in Miami. That beach is extremely expansive, so it makes sense. But I think you've seen, there've been times when you walk to the beach and even our stairs down, there is no beach.
Yeah.
It's up to the stairs. So
Yeah.
I just don't know how it'd be
Yeah.
physically feasible, running the risks that it could be taken. Because
I-
ours is not that.
I mean, you're more than
Fine.
welcome to make a recommendation, but maybe you want to provide some background, identify areas where you think it may be appropriate or, something to that effect, or if you just want to make a bold, just a general statement, you want more cans, but without, I know the commission is going to say, well, where are they? But, it's just food
Yeah.
for thought.
I think now that we know that the north end is particularly affected and we would need more trash cans there, would it be possible that you reach out to your team covering those zones and ask them where particularly it's a bigger condo, so it would make sense and not just a private villa, so that we have some points where it would be beneficial, and then with the next meeting, we can discuss it and could start reaching out to those residents and get their approval. Yeah.
I mean, Joanne and her team, they're on the front lines, so if you're willing to do it, and then we could take that and again, run it by the town manager after the board discusses it.
Okay, so moving on then until item 9, new business. Item A, nomination of
Just a quick question, didn't we add the
oh,
debrief?
I
Your
I
item.
apologize. I don't know if we added that to new or unfinished. So yes, my addition. Thank you for bringing me back. My item that I added, the reflections and revisiting the March 1st dune restoration management outreach night. So I'll just open with first and foremost, again, I was very proud of all of us. I think that's one of the first times that this board has put forth something of that magnitude where we encourage participation, and the turnout was really good. But I really wanted to focus on, again, instead of not just the night, but the moving forward and remind us again and work and coordinate here in communication with Miss Allen, how this, because these questions came up again with the participants of great, the what, why, but the now what. And there were many individuals in the audience asking, now that we know, what are we going to do with this? And how it was working. That presentation was, again, step 1 into education of the community so that they are aware, and how that would work in tangent with what the town commission wanted to do as it pertained to the 10-year evaluation. But if you did share, Ms. Allen, and we all know in many different ways, we have many new commission members and a new mayor this time.
Yeah.
So maybe you can give us an update as to where the commission stands, so we have a better understanding holistically
Yeah,
of where this falls in, so that we can again
Yeah.
move forward, and make recommendations and support.
let's hope by your next meeting, the proposal will go before the commission. If it's sometime in the middle between your next meeting, I can email you all and let you know where it is at.
Any additional comments and feedback that were from my other members as to that event and moving forward?
Do we know if anybody is taking action? Like, did anybody
Taking action in terms of what?
in getting, replanting or helping to maintain their dune? Did anybody actually, is there a way for us to know?
Well, not necessarily, because they'll get an FDP permit. It doesn't have to necessarily go through the town. I don't know if you all read the last manager's minute. There was at Penthouse Towers, there was a picture of them planting their dune. So as a result of that photograph and that article, I had another lady from, can't remember which townhome it was, but she emailed me and said, I was so impressed by those pictures. How can I get in touch with the person at Penthouse? Because we want to do something similar. And I could look it up in my emails while you're talking. I'll let you know which condo it was. So we were able to put the two in contact, and these things sometimes happen organically, right? No.
Many, yeah,
Doing plants and.
many
organic.
different pathways.
So, yeah.
One at a time.
Yeah.
I think it was an amazing event. Robert Barron, the expert, was terrific. I personally learned so much from what he said and he recommended. Maggie, I think I can't thank her enough for putting this event together. I personally think it was best practice, how we can operate as a team. We were meeting here. We had a special meeting just on dune restoration, which was an additional meeting. Then we organized the event. Maggie was all behind it, and I'm really grateful for her to do that. It was a great event and we can see action and I'll come under new business board member updates. I'll come to a couple of projects that are happening as a direct consequence of our dune restoration event. So I think we can be proud of the work that the commission has done. I think this is great work and this should be a good example of for other projects, like say the intercoastal, how we should operate and really push things forward. Because I think I like to see results. I'm a result-driven person. And the Sunshine Act is really restricting our cooperation. We are depending on meeting in person. So I personally am frustrated with the speed of things. I think with the dunes, we were very successful. And if needed, I always advocate for having special meetings, inviting top experts if needed to bring things forward. But this is a great event, great success. And yeah, thank
I
you.
agree. And the venue of education, instead of penalizing people for not doing what they should be, always start with positive presuppositions, positive ways to engage and teaching and a platform of education. So I'm proud of all of us. Okay. Question or comment?
Yes, again, it was a great evening. I was in attendance and I thought it was extremely informative afterwards and talking with, and just by way of background, I was a commissioner in my town. I was the president of my lake board up north for 20 years, worked very closely with Marshall Labadie in his environmental group in my town of West Bloomfield. So I too am very interested in getting things moving. But after that meeting, there were several people who said, we need the town to help us to bring in vendors or tell us, how do we get these COs? What's the best time of year to plant? How do we put that together and maybe get volunteers in our groups? And people who were there with those comments, there's about 5 or 6, that received very favorable review from them. One of them was a city official, one of them was a commissioner. And so I think that this Natural Resources Board has an opportunity to make recommendations like that, because when everyone comes back in October, November, that I don't know when you plant seed oats, but we could get that information together and there could be something sponsored by the town in the sense of organizing vendors or people to come in and help educate, so that those of us who are on our condo boards could come and figure out, because if the dunes fail, we're in trouble as a town. So that to me is the beauty of the Natural Resources Board, that we can help spearhead things. Maybe we don't do the things, but we spearhead it with information in a different way. That's it.
And again, I think that ties back into when I was talking with Ms. Allen as to when we can expect the commission to revisit what they had put forth. I believe it was back in November, October, that they asked me to come speak to them, give them an update on what the board was doing. And they gave us the thumbs up to move forward with this type of work and the support at the present commission at that time, which there have been many changes, gave the support of, we will move forward with that 10-year review in conjunction with continuous education and different pieces. But again, that's all, we're sitting and waiting in a holding pattern now. Not that they don't see it important. Everybody did see the importance of that, understands the value from an environmental point to a financial economic point to sustainability, infrastructure. But we just got in this holding pattern with such a new commission coming together and looking at such a vast agenda of items that they have to do. Again, we act as advisors to them based on when they come to us and say, we would like you to do this research work for us. So we work in tangent with them, but thank you.
If I could just add, since we're talking about dunes, at your last meeting, if you remember, you all had a discussion. I believe it was Ms. Nessel brought up the idea, or not the idea, but the fact that according to her outreach to the beach rakers, that they start after 9 a.m. And there was discussion about possibly putting some information on the town website about hey, for your information, if you have a contract with a raking company, note that they start after 9. So if you could start cleaning your property before 9 and to assist, removal of debris. Just wanted to let the board know that we did go ahead and put that, it was a friendly reminder. So the wording was the board encourages you to go out on your property before 9 a.m. So that way you can pick up the smaller debris. Just wanted to let you know, that's on your June webpage. Might want to check it out after. the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Allen, for that up. Any other comments?
Well, just real quick about your question, the board nor the town can not recommend any company. So it's difficult for us to say, hey, where do I get my sea grapes from? Go visit XYZ landscape company. So we can list multiple resources and give you education and guidance, but it's tough for us to say, hey, go shop at Home Depot, get this specific plant,
If I could just add again, on the board's webpage, which is on the town's website, they have a dune restoration management section. And in that section, there's several amazing links to a variety of dune management, dune restoration companies. So it's a wealth of information. If you're looking, there's also information from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection about how to do plantings, all these things that you're referencing. There's a lot of worksheets that have links on that page that can give you some information on that. It's just a matter of clicking on everything, but there's really a wealth of information on those links, just for what it's worth.
Okay, with that, then I will now move us into item 9, new business. Nomination of vice chairperson. Nominations are now open for the vice chairperson. Since Ms. Chapelier is no longer a member of the board, we do have that position is open.
I'll nominate Ms. Nessel.
Just keep in mind, you can nominate, but our ordinance says that the individual have to be a resident for like a year. On the board for like a year.
Yeah, I saw that. That it needs to be here, so you need to.
I'm not a year either.
I just wanted to point that out, but you all.
So even if the town has a year limit, we can still,
Since August, so it's been almost 9 months.
yeah, so I think the only 2 people that have been here for a year are,
Yeah.
I would still like to nominate Barbara and ask the commission to make an exception because,
No, you can.
okay,
okay. Okay,
gotcha.
Yeah, and again, I want to formalize the motion, or would you like me to read the resolution 19-029R formally? That's on my notes here. I'm sorry, Ms. Gaskins, do you need me for the record to read what was typed in my notes here? Okay, then we'll move on. Okay, so all right. Barbara Nessel, do you accept the nomination for vice chairperson?
Yes, I'm honored. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Nessel has been nominated, and we're noting that it has been noted as well that she has not been on the board for a full year, but we are moving forward with asking permission from the commission to move forward with that nomination. Is there a motion to nominate Barbara Nessel as vice chairperson to serve
Sure,
a
yeah.
one-year term?
Since there was only one nomination and she accepted, it's a done deal.
All right, all in favor
Thank you.
of moving forward with Ms. Nessel as the vice chairperson, say yes.
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 Yeah, all opposed, say no.
I did.
Nomination. So then we'll roll right into. We will roll right into item B, board member updates, and Ms. Nessel.
Okay, well, thank you so much. So I just wanted to point out when I was walking the beach, I was sending an email to town planner Alan. I saw that especially one resident has done an amazing job, and you can see the picture. It's attached to this agenda that was sent out. I think this is an excellent example of our new outreach program and event. They have literally put a lot of sweat and money into it. However, in reference to what you mentioned, I spoke to the person on the beach. She was very frustrated that the town wasn't helping her with the whole program. So I will, if it's allowed, I will talk to her privately, what was her frustration, so we can learn from a specific resident, what is it that the town could help you with to get things moving. They did it on their own. However, they were frustrated. So that was just something I was asking if that's something I can do, reaching out and asking, what was your frustration? What can we learn as a board for other residents who have similar plans?
Well, I would love to know what their frustrations were so that we could, try and make that so it doesn't happen to anyone else.
Great, so I'll definitely follow up with them. I can also report that I had for our condo association discussions with our manager, who's been managing buildings all over from here all the way to Miami, very experienced person, and she recommended that we'll reach out to other neighbors and do a joint project and not just our building. So that's what I'm intending to do. We have till January. You asked which time is the best. From my memory, what Robert Barron said, usually January, February, when the beach is widest. So like the winter is the best planting season. So we have time, the time runs. So we will start once people are back, talking to residents and hopefully plan that the south side is covered with more than just one house, so that we have, say, a couple of 100 feet of beach restored, not just one resident. Because if you just do one residence, great, but honestly, it's not as powerful as if you do it as a longer stretch. So I will be updating on that in the next meeting. My second update was just high water markings on the beach. I saw a couple of high water markings, and I've reached out to the town planner Alan, what it was, and maybe Mrs. Allen, do you want to update us briefly on those markings on the
Yeah.
beach?
I reached out to the Public Works Director and to other staff. No one's knew what they were, but the stakes do look like a surveying stake. Again, that's private property. And I mentioned in the email to you that they should be there temporarily. I don't know if you still see them out there, but I reached out to FDP. They did not put the stakes there. So it's probably, I know it's on the south side. There's that Ocean Place. So maybe they're doing some sort of surveying. But again, it's private property and you can survey your property. But let me know in an email if it's still there in the next few weeks, but I believe that's what it is. Nobody else could give me a definitive answer. So I'm assuming that's
They
it.
are still there, and apparently, I mean, from what I see, they're moving. Yeah.
Yes, at Ocean Place Villas, I believe it is, they're still there. Some of them that were down low got washed away when we had those super high tides. And some of them are painted bright orange, like fluorescent, like a surveying color. And they have MLW, mean low water, I think. Yeah, because some of my team asked me, they took pictures and sent to me, and I was out there this morning in that one section. So few of them are still there.
The next, it's not really an update, it's just a question. The FDOT project, there was an amazing meeting, I think a week or two ago, that was recorded. I read the minutes, and as a nature person, I'm thrilled to read that 678 trees were studied, 7 will be removed, 23 will be relocated. And the 7 removed will be replaced as well. So we were not going to lose any trees, which was one of my major concerns. However, I'm asking here, as a board, can we as a nature board request that the FDOT is actually planting a lot more trees? The reason being they're doing more asphalting, so there's going to be more runoff of water, which kind of from a drainage perspective, I know these are engineers, they know what they're doing, but could we as a nature board request that we use this chance to simply plant more trees along the A1A?
This, obviously, the right of way belongs to the Florida Department of Transportation. When you look at your powers and duties, it's really outside your purview. You're right, I read those minutes too. We talk about that. The commission hasn't given the board any direction to address trees and FDOT's right of way in terms of removal, replacement. So it is a bit out of your purview, but again, you can always go to a town commission meeting and state your concern and let the commission know how you feel, but it's really outside the purview of the board to discuss trees and FDOT property. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's helpful. I just thought I'll bring it up. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. So the last point would just be beach rakers, quick update on my side. I think it has gotten better. We have been noticing the rots are quite deep. We're monitoring them from a turtle team perspective, and I think Joanne, you're reaching out to the beach rakers if we see anything that would be a problem for the turtles. In terms of them burying trash, every morning I still do pick up trash. That is literally where they were raking. It's kind of hard to say. It's smaller items, shoes, little buckets, plastic. I mean, it's gotten a little better, but it could improve. There's room for improvement.
Okay, then I'm going to move on to item number 10, announcements. On May 9th, 2023 at 1 p.m. will be the Code Enforcement Board meeting. On May 11th of 2023 at 9:30 a.m. is the Planning Board regular meeting. On May 16th, 2023 at 1 p.m., the Town Commission meeting. And again, we still have some board vacancies, Natural Resources Preservation Advisory Board. We have 3 vacancies for unexpired terms ending April 30th, 2024.
Needed to just announce, but I just wanted to just restate. Remember Nessel asked if she could if we could put a link in the minute. I just wanted to let you know, we don't put links in the minutes because links could change. So I just wanted to clarify that. So
Thank you, Ms. Gaskins. Okay, so then with that, I'm gonna move towards adjournment. This meeting is adjourned at 12:11 p.m.
Thank you.